Morning, children. Good morning, everybody. So today we will continue with the same lesson, that is climate of India. In the last class, we have discussed about what is climate, what is weather, what is temperature. We discussed about climographs. In the last class, we discussed about climographs, and we have seen the factors which are influencing, that is affecting in the change of climate and weather. So there we are seeing two factors already: latitude, then land, water.
G Vaishnavi,
G Vaishnavi, you are scribbling everything on the screen. Don't use the mouse. Don't do such kind of things. Okay? Okay. Remove all that thing. Now, already in the last class, we have seen latitude and land water relationship. So, latitude are different from the equator. So, the place which is away from the equator and the place which is near to the equator is different. Already we discussed about this. Next, we have seen next. Yes. Next, you will be given see land water relationship. The relationship between land and water. So the place near to the ocean, the place near to the ocean and away from the ocean, they are having different kinds of climate and temperature. Next, we will see about relief. Relief. Relief features. So already we have seen in the first lesson about relief features. Relief features. You know the relief features, physical features. So mountains, plains, plateaus. So here also, depending on the relief feature, that is hills, mountains, plains, have a different kinds of climate. Hills and mountains varies in the altitude, that is height. Plains, plateaus, their height from the sea level is also different. So the places which are on the hilly region like Shimla, Gulmarg, Nainital, Darjeeling, they are actually elevated areas. Mean from the sea level, they are at a higher altitude. That is why they are cool. And the places which are with a lower altitude will have different climate. Next, we will see about upper air circulation. Upper air circulation. So, in this, first you understand what is upper air circulation. Upper means higher region or from the surface to the higher areas in the clouds or below the clouds or above the clouds. So in the northern hemisphere, especially the subtropical pressure belts, in the ninth class we learned about pressure belts. There are some kinds of winds blowing. So they are actually permanent winds. They blow from equatorial region to west and east. So the winds which will blow towards the west, they are called as the westerlies. So you already know this. So E Bhavani voice is struggling. See, it is your net problem, brother. try to improve it. Then these are also called as the trade winds because they blow in a particular direction. This is actually a German word used to trade, means track in the sense a particular way. So here these winds will blow constantly in a northeastern region, means from the northeast direction they will move. That is called northeast trade winds. So when we are talking about Indian climate, the climate of India is affected by the movement of upper air circulations, means the winds which are blowing at an altitude, means height from the surface, from the base level, that is from the ground level, around 12,000 meters. If you see, there a kind of winds are moving at a speed of 110 kilometers per hour. That is a very fast blowing wind. So in summer they will blow at 110 kilometers, but in winter uh, they will blow around 184 kilometers per hour. That is very, very fast. So they are also called as jet streams. They are also called as jet streams, and they form around 25 degrees north latitude. 25 degrees north latitude. So these jet streams cause rainfall. So because of this heavy moving wind, the jet streams, which affect in the clouds, bring some changes in the clouds, and there will be a rainfall in that region. So this upper atmospheric circulation, the winds which will blow, what we call as jet streams, around 12,000 meters above the surface at a speed of 110 kilometers in summer, 184 kilometers in winter. These winds cause rainfall in those regions between 25 degrees north latitude regions. So these are called as jet streams. So upper atmospheric circulation means the winds which will blow at an altitude of 12,000 meters from the ground level. They are called as jet streams, and these jet streams are a cause for the rainfall in the particular region. So next, we will see when we talk about climate, we will see about winter and summer. Seasons are classified into winter and summer. So if you see winter, what you observe in which month generally you will observe winter in India? What are the months? So November, December, January, and around February also. So till the mid-February, usually these are the coldest month. You will have around 10 degrees to 20 degrees temperature. So especially in the North Indian part, you will find the temperature is very, very low. And during this winter, the what you see is that pleasant weather will be there. Cold breezes will blow. And especially this happens because the winds which are blowing from the western disturbances are what we call Mediterranean region. So this moderate, this winds, the winds blowing from the Mediterranean region brings a little rainfall in the northern part of India. And this rainfall which brings by the winds from the Mediterranean Sea are a boon. You know what is a boon? In the northern parts of India, because they bring a little rainfall, which is during the Rabi season in the northern part of India. So next is we will see about the summer. Summer. Now just now we discussed about winter. In the climate, two seasons, summer, winter. We have other seasons also, spring season, but in India it is different. So when we talk about summer, so we know it's a hot month. Summer anagane means when we come across the word summer, we start feeling the hot climate, hot winds. So during the hot season, when we move from south to north, I mean from the southern part of India, when we move to the northern part of India in the country, the average temperature is increasing. And these summer months, March, April, May, and mid June, sometimes even mid June. These are the months generally we find a hot temperature around 35 to 45 degrees, in between 35 to 45 degrees temperature we'll find. And May is the hottest month, and during the May, the southern India, you may find around 45, 40 and above 40 to 45 degrees temperature in the northern part of India. Now, when we see towards the end of the summer, means summer ending months, July, June, July, so on, uh, there will be again a little showers, very little rainfall, which we call it as pre-monsoon showers. Pre-monsoon showers, and they are commonly in the southern part, especially in the Western Plateau region, and this especially helps in ripening of mangoes in the states like Telangana, Maharashtra, then Andhra Pradesh, and so on. So these, especially these showers are called as mango showers in Andhra Pradesh. Mango shower, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Now, when we see advancing monsoon, the next one is, see we have two types of monsoons. Monsoon season, advancing monsoon, retreating monsoon. Advancing monsoon is something we can say that monsoons are going to appear or coming. So monsoon wind plays a very important role, not in the present situations, but from the earlier days also. How these winds helped the sailors in the ancient times used these monsoon winds to sail from one country to another country, especially the Arabic traders who has to do business with India used these monsoon winds to sail towards Indian coast. To reach India, they used these monsoon winds. That is why these Arab traders named these winds as a monsoon. Monsoon. Monsoon forms the tropical area that is between 20 degrees north and 20 degrees south latitude. You know, even the equator comes in that region. The southwest monsoon wind from the southern hemisphere take some moisture as they flow, means the winds blowing over the Indian Ocean have some moisture in it, and that brings a little rainfall also. So you can see the southwest monsoon. See the textbook. Already your textbook is shared on the screen. You see the picture there, pressure and monsoon winds. On one part, northeast monsoon. The other side is northeast. The first one is northeast monsoon. The next one is southwest monsoon. In the northeast monsoons, there will be high pressure. There will be a high pressure. The winds blow from the land part towards the ocean. Next one, southwest monsoon will have low pressure on the land part because the winds blow from oceanic part, that is water bodies, towards the land body. So these two, if you observe, high pressure in the land, low pressure in the ocean. High pressure in the land, low pressure in the ocean during the northeast monsoons. Next one is during the southwest monsoons, low pressure on the land, high pressure on the water bodies. These are the things which generally happen in the monsoon. So two types of monsoons. Next one, retreating monsoon. Re means again, retreating, coming, monsoon. So monsoon coming back means the winds which will blow once will move away, and after some days they will turn back to the same region. So these winds will blow in 1 month, 1 or 2 months from the ocean. After a few months, the same winds turn back towards the ocean again. So retreating monsoon is the monsoon which occurs in India during the October and November. This period is called as a period of transition. Transition means changing of conditions of temperature and wind. So here, these monsoon, the retreating monsoon winds are seen with a clear sky, and there will be a rise in the temperature. So if you find the skies are very clear and the temperature is increasing, especially in the October, November month slowly, then you will understand that it is retreating monsoon. It is commonly known as October heat. Means a little heat, not like March, April, May, not that much, but a little heat is observed in these areas. Next, if you see this low pressure condition, once which is there in the northern part, northwest India, will slowly move towards the center, and from there it will move to Bay of Bengal by the other month, November, December. Means October, January, February, which winds are blowing from south to north in India. After few months, October and November, they will be reversed, and from north they are moving towards the south. Okay, we will continue with the next topic. You observe the maps. You observe the maps. Southwest monsoon map, and then you can see the wind blowing. Dates are also given. From which month? 1st June. The winds enter from Kerala, move to the other state. 5th June, 10th June, 15th June. So in this way, as the days pass, these winds are moving from south to north, and above India also they will be moving. Next, the most important thing is very important, very important. Indian traditional seasons. That is the traditional Indian seasons. The Telugu names. See, this is very important. Like you see the table given in page number 52. Vasanta Rutuvu, Rutuvulu అంటాం కదా. We call it as Rutu. Grishma Rutuvu, Varsha Rutuvu, Sharad Rutuvu, Hemanta Rutuvu, Shishira Rutuvu. So 2 months have one season, one Telugu season. So month, when we take January, February, March, April, in that way we have Telugu names. See, January is known as Magha. February is known as Phalguna. Masamu antaru, means month. Then March, Chaitra Masamu. April, Vaishakha Masamu. Jyeshtha, May. June is known as Ashada. Then Shravana, Bhadra, July, August. September, October is known as Ashwayuja and Kartika. Now Margashira, Pushya, November, December. So based on the month, can anyone guess what is the Telugu lunar calendar month presently? The present is actually October month. So in Telugu it is called as Kartika, Kartika month. Yes, am I right? Nobody is responding. Okay. So next, the very important one is global warming and climatic change. So first of all, we have to understand climate plays a very important role on the human life. If the climate, see, there are many issues going on. As we know, climate is increasing, global warming is taking place. Global warming means the whole earth is itself is increasing in the temperature. That is, temperature is increasing. Global warming. All the countries, not only in India, but the temperature of all the countries in the world increasing day by day, which is called as global warming. And what happens? The question is, what happens if this warming, global warming takes place or go on increasing in the temperature? Go on increasing in the temperature. So this is a very simple issue. We have discussed many times what happens if the climate changes, if the temperature increases. Common issue. No, it became very common issue and very serious issue in all the countries in the world. Because when the temperature increases, simple thing, it becomes very difficult for the survival of human beings. Simple. Whatever polar region, if you see whatever ice is there, if the temperature increases, that ice will melt. And you know, if that ice melts, ocean level will increase. The water level in the ocean will increase. If that happens, many coastal regions around the world, many islands in the world will submerge in the water. If the water level increases in the oceans because of the melting of ice, because of increase in the temperature, then many coastal regions will submerge in the water. So it becomes a serious issue now. Many protocols, many laws, many international organizations were set by the different countries in the world to look into this issue, to control the global warming. There are many agreements, signs, understanding between the countries to decrease the global warming is taking place. So, if you see, global warming is of two kinds, that is man-made and common, like natural. So, man-made means the reasons, whatever reasons we are, they're involved in increasing in the global warming. Means whatever activities we are doing directly or indirectly, which will increase the temperature on the earth, they are called human-made causes. Like the word what we use is anthropogenic global warming. Human-made or man-made causes. Caused the causes are because of human beings. Like we are using plastic. You may think that how plastic is responsible for increasing in the temperature. But scientifically, if you see, this is responsible for increasing in the temperature. So, global warming is taking place due to interference of human beings. If you see, scientists have discovered that in the frozen region, North Pole and South Pole, there is a large volume of methane gases which will cause for the global warming. If temperature goes on increasing, this ice will melt in the polar region and all those methane gases will come out and again it will lead to more and more global warming. So, how the global warming is responsible for the climate change? Now, AGW and climate change, anthropogenic global warming and climate change. Anthropogenic, already we discussed. Human causes, M. Varshita. What are you doing? You are scribbling on the screen. So, anthropogenic global warming. So, there are many international organizations like IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. International government, a panel was prepared to control the climate. So IPCC in 2015 conducted a summit meeting in Paris with many countries, like all around 195 countries attended, and they have signed a agreement to do the activities to control the climate, control the climate. And here in this meeting, there was some arguments like developed countries and underdeveloped countries has a misconcept. Like developed countries argue that developing countries should not use uh, the resources which will cause, or the things like minerals like coal, petrol, which will cause global warming. So developed countries argue that developing countries should reduce the usage of coal, petrol. But developing countries argue that those countries developed because they have already used them. They already use the coal, petrol, diesel, whatever, which are actually responsible for the global warming and develop. And now they are saying that developing countries should not use them to control the climate, to control the global warming. So there was a little misunderstanding, or there was no common things, common thinking between the developed countries and developing countries. So here I will stop my lesson. All of you go to the AGW, how the anthropogenic global warming is responsible for the damage of Earth. And in the next session, we will continue with our things. If you have any doubt, you can just post. And now, everybody, I think you have posted the attendance. If not, please send your attendance. There will a 3 minutes time is given. React immediately and send the attendance.